alaikum. I hope everyone is doing well. Ramadan Mubarak to you guys. Alhamdulillah. I am really excited that we were able to make it this Ramadan to this point. So Alhamdulillah. I hope everyone's doing well in the best of health and iman. Today's video, I'm going to talk about the Ummah and how we can critically analyze how we are doing in the state that we are in. So I really wanted to talk about patterns, and this was discovered a lot from Ibn Khaldun. He was a sociologist, and in the, I believe, like the 9th century, I'm not really too sure when he was alive, so I should search that up. He came up with a theory in which there would be a rise, a flourishing period, and then there would be a decline in a society. In the beginning, when there is this rise period, we're in cohesion, we have hopes for prosperity, we form groups to conquer a certain particular environment or problem together. And so this creates from a rise perspective into a flourishing state, and then when we have flourish, there is luxury, and then the hearts become kind of divided, and then it becomes all of these individuals kind of scattered, and then that's what becomes the fall. The main point of Ibn Khaldun is talking about cohesion of people, and obviously we are aware that like there is the rapid concern of individualism. At the time, like, you know, of Ibn Khaldun, like, he's like, yeah, we're failing because we're all kind of like doing our own thing, we're not in this state of cohesion. It's very obvious to him. That cohesion was really needed, but now we've come to a state where we can really function, high function, with no interaction with people, right? And when will we actually stop to think, well, we're going down, you know? I think we're numb to that decline just because of the material success of this society. So two things to really question when we're looking at this framework of like the rise, flourish, and decline. Two questions is, what's the ambition for us to rise? You know, what's the ambition to change and pivot our trajectory? If we're in this decline and we're still getting monetary gain, if we're still getting our fun, you know, aspects out of like vacationing and going to a restaurant with a friend, like if we're still in this decline period, what will want to make us rise again? With what ambition? And what solution does a rise give? So the second way to look at this perspective of how we view our ummah is our deen, how we practice ourselves as Muslim, how we are Muslim. Like at the end of the day, that's the key to how we can really deeply reflect on how our ummah is that how are we practicing as a Muslim, and defining what it means to be a Muslim, which when we think about what it means to be a Muslim, you know, we know the Shahada, but thinking about it from an angle of two things. So there's two ways to look at it, would be the servitude to Allah and the service of others. So people often forget about this other part of a Muslim's identity. It is to serve Allah, but it's also to be on this planet, in this dunya, to be of service to others. So talking about the service of others, I don't know how to make a video. When I write my notes, I don't know how to make it interesting and really take my notes into what I want to say. So I hope that I can somehow do a diagram. So we box in these responsibilities of family, friends, spouses, work, children. We have all of these things, and then we close the systems off and don't think they're correlated. We think that there are dun, but in reality, each one should be encouraging the other. So your parents should be like, you know what, son, daughter, you know, do this for the community. Like, don't worry about, you know, giving all of your salary to us. Like, let's, you know, like, still the focus is serving others here. And then your wife should be like, you know what, let's serve others. Work will say, serve me. You know, wife will say, serve me. Family may say, like your parents may say, serve me. but they're not saying serve them. Serve the undeserving, serve the people in your communities. Being able to say, where am I the service of others? Like, where am I? Because service of others is not your own. And I think that's where we have to analyze, is that we want Islam to be forward for all of humanity. And if we are just serving our parents and being very narrow minded, where's transformation going to happen?
I want to be concerned that my neighbors and my loved ones and my friends and my co-workers and my classmates, they're hearing the message of Al-Islam. I want to be concerned about the fact that Islam is my project rather than mailing it in. I don't want to be one of those community members who just benefits from the services that are offered in the communal space, and I don't take Islam as my project. If Islam is not my project, what's my project? So brothers and sisters, we see from the spirit of the servant prophet is how worried and concerned he was with his ummah, with the plight of the affairs of all of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's creation.
And then the last thing here, which would be looking at tradition and looking at history. And this is a very crucial part to really analyze our ummah today, is obviously looking at how the operation of it was back at the time of the Prophet ﷺ and after the four khalafas, to really analyze, like, wow, like this was like a golden age of success of the welfare system, and just how they were really in cohesion, and in certain aspects of how we operated in that time has different successes. And one of the things that is very successful is the concept of Shura, this consultation that we do as Muslims that is very crucial to our success. So that means we're consoling each other, we're talking about how can we pivot to do this better, is this a good idea? This is what Shura is about. I'm going to be putting resources down below on talking more about the beauty of Shura. Another thing here, and I added it in my notes, is that we need to look at the economic system back then, like the success of distributing wealth. And that's like, I'm not taking this lightly. This is actually something that should be actually one of the lenses in which we view the ummah, is our economics and how we don't share the wealth. We don't distribute wealth that good in our ummah. Okay, we have zakat, but that doesn't mean that we're doing well in this area, where we don't pool our money together, we don't operate together in this regard. And this is actually one of the crucial things that makes an individualistic ummah, is this money aspect. We think that we are like, check mark, oh, zakat's done, and like, oh yeah. No, it's a way of life in our deen, that we can operate a little bit selflessly, like, just give me money. It's just that there's people needing that money.
To get back to the point, the issue of economics is a huge issue for the Muslim community. And so when we look at where we are as a community, and I'm saying, okay, mashallah, like this community has a $10 million masjid, this one has $1 million masjid, and you start thinking about the wealth of the Muslims in that community. Okay, we've been under this onslaught for so long that almost all of our collective effort has been just to preserve Islam.
Right.
We just want to make sure that we can stay Muslim, that our children have the opportunity to grow up in Islamic environments to the best of our ability, right? So you're building masjids, building Islamic centers, building Islamic schools, trying to create these little micro ecosystems whereby their Islam is protected, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so in terms of concerted effort, almost exclusively that's where our efforts have been. It's been on preserving deen. The thing is, we need other things to live as well, right? And so a strong economic system means a lot. especially in a capitalist society where money talks. What are we doing on that front? Well, alhamdulillah, we've got these mutual funds and these, other investment opportunities so that Muslims can have halal options, which didn't exist. The issue is that there have been efforts made in this front. But again, all of that is very individual, right? You invest, you have a 401k, you buy a house, right? So the effort that we have to come together for conferences to support our deen, the national organizations that have been formed to protect Muslims' civil liberties or to promote some aspect of the deen. We don't have, to my knowledge, again, any national organizations to bring together the wealth of the Muslims in one fund, whereby now we actually have a voice, because this organization is controlling $1 billion, for example, which is nothing for the Muslim community. I'm saying, like, the American Muslim community. $1 billion, like we've got that for sure, but it's scattered.
Yep.
And because it's scattered all over the place, it doesn't have any impact. There's no concentration, there's no focus of that wealth. But if you did, and you can pull certain strings and say, you know what? Now, if you do this, we're moving that $1 billion over here. Or
Right.
Now you start having a little bit. Now you don't just sit at the table. You bring the table.
Yeah, you are the table.
You are the table.
So I hope everyone is well, and I'm going to end it here. I hope that you guys like these type of videos on this channel. I make things about sociology, the Ummah, the state of the Ummah, leadership, and all of that. I have a small background in social service work, and I'm really into and passionate about not-for-profits, and how I'm very curious about like different aspects of the Ummah, and it's one of the biggest topics in our household. It's always been about how we can serve others better and more efficient while we are in this dunya, and I'm really just into all of that stuff. So that's this channel shift. I used to do parenting, I used to do Islamic reminders, and now I'm shifting into talking about Ummah at large and some of the things in that. Assalamu alaikum.